Heart surgeons reveal the 6 worst daily habits every older heart patient had in common. In the quiet corridors of some of the UK's top heart hospitals, there's an unspoken truth shared among the seasoned heart surgeons, one that doesn't make headlines or sit on pharmacy shelves. It's a truth carved from decades of open heart surgeries, stent placements, and tearful conversations with families. It's the realization that many older heart patients, those in their 60s, 70s and beyond, share the same daily habits. Harmless, even normal seeming on the surface, but deadly over time. So today, we're going to tell you the story of 3 such patients. Their names have been changed, but their stories are real. And through them, you'll discover the 6 worst daily habits heart surgeons say they've seen again and again in their patients. Let's begin. Meet Arthur, age 76, the morning routine. Arthur lived a quiet life in a small cottage outside of Manchester. Every morning, he woke at 7:30, brewed a strong black tea with 2 spoons of sugar, skipped breakfast, and lit up a cigarette. He'd sit in his recliner chair, scrolling on his tablet, barely moving for hours. One winter morning, Arthur collapsed while making toast. He'd suffered a major heart attack. In the hospital, Dr. Helen Cartwright, a leading cardiothoracic surgeon, reviewed his lifestyle. And she wasn't surprised. Habit number 1. Skipping breakfast and poor nutrition. Dr. Cartwright explained that many older patients like Arthur skip breakfast or eat carb-heavy, processed snacks later in the day. They lack the fiber, protein, and healthy fats the heart needs to stay strong. Skipping meals also messes with blood sugar, increasing insulin resistance, a major contributor to heart disease. Habit number 2. Sedentary mornings. Arthur's daily routine involved sitting for long periods with little to no movement before noon. Prolonged inactivity slows circulation and increases the risk of clots, stroke, and high blood pressure. A slow start can quietly ruin a heart over time. After his surgery, Arthur made changes: a short walk before breakfast, eggs and oats instead of toast, and a strict no-smoking rule. His heart didn't fully recover, but it did get a second chance. Meet Arthur, age 76, the morning routine. Arthur lived a quiet life in a small cottage outside of Manchester. Every morning, he woke at 7:30, brewed a strong black tea with 2 spoons of sugar, skipped breakfast, and lit up a cigarette. He'd sit in his recliner chair, scrolling on his tablet, barely moving for hours. One winter morning, Arthur collapsed while making toast. He'd suffered a major heart attack. In the hospital, Dr. Helen Cartwright, a leading cardiothoracic surgeon, reviewed his lifestyle. And she wasn't surprised. Habit number 1. Skipping breakfast and poor nutrition. Meet Dorothy, age 82, the overthinker. Dorothy, a retired librarian from Kent, was always alert, perhaps too alert. She spent hours reading news headlines, worrying about her grandchildren, or replaying old regrets in her mind. She rarely slept before 2 a.m., and even then, she'd wake often, her heart racing. She visited her GP often for chest pains, but nothing ever showed up. Until one day it did. An emergency bypass revealed the extent of damage from years of silent hypertension. Habit number 3. Chronic stress and mental overload. Dr. Ibrahim Malik, a cardiac surgeon at St. Thomas Hospital in London, says one of the most consistent patterns he sees is chronic, unmanaged stress in older patients. Whether it's financial worries, loneliness, or past trauma, stress acts like a slow poison. Cortisol levels spike, blood vessels constrict, and blood pressure rises subtly but steadily. Add sleep deprivation, and it's a perfect storm for heart failure. Dorothy's recovery was long, but with therapy, gentle yoga, and a strict no news after 7 p.m. rule, her stress levels dropped. She even started painting again, a lifelong dream.
If this video helped you even a little, then please support us by hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss our next life-changing video. We're here to grow stronger together. Let's walk this journey of health and hope side by side.
Meet Arthur, age 76, the morning routine. Arthur lived a quiet life in a small cottage outside of Manchester. Every morning, he woke at 7:30, brewed a strong black tea with 2 spoons of sugar, skipped breakfast, and lit up a cigarette. He'd sit in his recliner chair, scrolling on his tablet, barely moving for hours. One winter morning, Arthur collapsed while making toast. He'd suffered a major heart attack. In the hospital, Dr. Helen Cartwright, a leading cardiothoracic surgeon, reviewed his lifestyle. Meet George, age 79, the salt addict. Narrator: George was energetic and sharp, a retired engineer with a love for food. But he had one weakness: salt. He added it to everything. Chips, soup, even sandwiches. He believed the myth that older people need more salt for flavor. He brushed off the mild swelling in his ankles and the occasional dizzy spell. Until one day, he fainted at his granddaughter's birthday party. The diagnosis: congestive heart failure. Habit number 4, excess salt intake. Salt is one of the deadliest daily habits surgeons see. Excess sodium causes the body to retain water, increasing blood volume and with it, blood pressure. Over time, this leads to stiffened arteries and weakens the heart. And it's not just about what you add. Most processed foods are loaded with hidden salt. Narrator: George's wife, Margaret, took charge. Out went the crisps and processed meats. In came herbs, lemon, and potassium-rich foods. Within 6 months, his blood pressure stabilized, and the swelling reduced. The universal habit, the denial. Now here's where all 3 of our stories converge. Arthur, Dorothy, George, they all ignored the early signs. Fatigue, breathlessness, swelling, dizziness, indigestion. They chalked it up to just getting old. And this brings us to perhaps the most dangerous habit of all. Habit number 5, ignoring early symptoms and delaying medical checkups. Dr. Cartwright calls it the British disease of politeness. Older patients don't want to bother the doctor, or they downplay symptoms. But heart disease doesn't care about modesty. It thrives on silence. A simple checkup, an ECG, or a blood pressure reading could have saved years of damage in all 3 cases. Scene 5. The hidden danger, the sugar trap. Our final habit is one that heart surgeons say hides in plain sight, especially among those who aren't diabetic. Sugar. From breakfast cereals to low-fat yogurts, even so-called healthy granola bars are often sugar bombs. Over time, this causes insulin resistance, damages blood vessels, and promotes inflammation, all enemies of the heart. Habit number 6. Daily excess sugar, especially hidden sugar. Dr. Malik recalls that almost every older heart patient he's seen had a daily sugar intake 2 to 3 times higher than recommended. Even fruit juices, just 1 glass, can contain more sugar than a donut. Arthur switched to porridge with cinnamon. Dorothy drank herbal teas instead of juice. George, surprisingly, gave up biscuits and replaced them with apple slices and almonds. Small changes, big difference. Lessons from the operating room. So what have heart surgeons seen, time and again? Skipped meals and poor nutrition, sedentary mornings and long hours sitting. Chronic, unmanaged stress, excess salt in the diet. Ignored symptoms and delayed checkups. Hidden sugars in daily meals. These habits, repeated over time, are like drops of water on a rock. They wear the heart down quietly, slowly, and often without warning. But the good news, every one of these habits can be changed. No matter your age. Soft inspirational music rises. Arthur walks daily. Dorothy sleeps soundly. George cooks with herbs now. 3 stories, 1 lesson. Don't wait until the damage is done. If you found this story helpful, consider subscribing. We share real-life health journeys and timeless insights for a better, longer life. And if you're over 60, perhaps it's time to look at your own daily habits, not with fear, but with curiosity. After all, the heart never stops working for you. Maybe it's time you return the favor. Fade out with soft heartbeat sound. Transition to end screen.
If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a 1 in the comments. We'd love to know you're with us.
What every heart surgeon wishes older people knew before it was too late. If your heart could speak, what would it say? Would it thank you for a morning walk? Or would it whisper warnings about that second glass of wine? The late-night takeaway, or the stress you carry like an old coat? This is not just another list of health tips. It's a story, one drawn from the real experiences of people over 65 whose lives took a sudden turn. And through the eyes of the very surgeons who fought to save them, we'll uncover the daily habits they wish everyone knew before it was too late. Evelyn's wake-up call, age 71. Evelyn was proud of her independence. A widow living in Bristol, she'd walk to the shop, cook for herself, and never missed her morning crossword. But her days were fueled by caffeine for cups of coffee before noon and evenings by ready meals. She'd always say, "I feel fine, don't worry about me." Until one evening, Evelyn collapsed while gardening. Her heart had silently weakened over years, and no one saw it coming, not even her. Habit number 1. Relying on feeling fine instead of regular checkups. Dr. Samuel Keating, a consultant cardiologist, says the biggest mistake older adults make is assuming that feeling okay means they are okay. Blood pressure can be high for years without symptoms. Arteries can narrow without a single warning sign.
Evelyn hadn't had a heart screening in over 15 years. Clive, the former boxer, age 75. Clive was once a boxer in his youth. Strong, tough, never missed a step. But after retiring, life slowed down, and so did he. His idea of exercise? Walking from the kitchen to the telly. He'd often fall asleep in the chair, legs swollen, breath short, but still told himself, it's just old age. Habit 2. No exercise plus excess sitting. Dr. Lorna Peters, a heart surgeon from Leeds, shares a harsh truth. We're not meant to sit for 8 hours a day, especially not as we age. Lack of movement affects circulation, metabolism, and heart rhythm. Even 20 minutes of walking a day can cut risk dramatically. Clive didn't know it, but his heart was struggling against fluid buildup for months. When he finally saw a doctor, the damage was already advanced, a hidden danger. See the story of Nassim. Age 68. Nassim loved food, a proud grandfather from Birmingham. His homemade curries were famous in the family. But so was his sweet tooth. He wasn't overweight, didn't smoke, and rarely drank. So when he began to feel tired all the time, he assumed it was nothing serious. But during a routine visit, his GP found dangerously high triglyceride levels and early signs of heart disease. Habit 3. Hidden sugar in a healthy diet. Even those who eat home-cooked meals can consume too much sugar. Ketchup, chutney low-fat yogurt fruit juices, all packed with added sugars. Surgeons often see patients who look healthy but have internal inflammation caused by sugar overload. Nassim began checking labels, swapped fizzy drinks for water, and saw his numbers improve in just months. Margaret and the myth of normal aging. Margaret, 79, believed that things like chest tightness, shortness of breath, and fatigue were simply part of growing older. So when her heart began skipping beats, she thought, that's just what happens when you reach nearly 80. She ignored it until a blackout in the supermarket sent her to AE. Habit 4. Normalizing symptoms that aren't normal. According to Dr. Keating, this is one of the most dangerous habits of all. Many older patients don't report breathlessness, fatigue, or swelling because they think it's normal. It's not. These are red flags. Margaret needed a pacemaker. It saved her life, but only because it wasn't too late. 5. Malcolm's midnight snacking. Age 74. Malcolm had always been a night owl. Late TV, late snacks, crisps, cheese, or chocolate biscuits. He didn't eat much during the day, but his nightly routine overloaded his system. One night, he woke up gasping for air. It wasn't indigestion, it was heart failure. Habit 5. Late night eating and irregular meal patterns. Surgeons warn that late night eating puts extra pressure on the heart. The body struggles to digest food during rest, and blood pressure can spike. Poor meal timing also affects cholesterol and insulin. Malcolm now eats his last meal by 6 p.m. He misses his snacks, but not the hospital bed. Grace's stress spiral. Age 80. Grace lost her husband 5 years ago. Since then, she's battled loneliness, worry, and sleepless nights. She never talked about it, just kept busy. Tried to carry on, but stress lives in the body, even when it's hidden behind a smile. One afternoon, she fainted in the garden. Her blood pressure had surged dangerously high. Habit 6. Unspoken. Unmanaged stress. Stress triggers inflammation, raises cortisol, and tightens arteries. It's not just emotional, it's physical. Surgeons say they often operate on people whose emotional lives have been quietly damaging their hearts for years. Grace joined a local walking group and began counseling. It didn't bring her husband back, but it did bring back her peace. Closing message: see what surgeons really want you to know. Evelyn, Clive, Nassim, Margaret, Malcolm, Grace. Different lives, different choices, but one thing in common: daily habits that seemed harmless until they weren't. So if heart surgeons could leave you with one message, it wouldn't be about pills or procedures. It would be this: stop waiting for something to go wrong before you make it right. Small changes today can mean years more tomorrow. Your heart doesn't retire just because you did. It's never too late to choose better habits. And it's never too early to start. If you found this story helpful, please subscribe. Every week, we share stories that inspire, inform, and maybe save a life.
Still watching till the end? That means you're serious about getting stronger. Show us you're part of this journey. Drop a 5 in the comments if you're ready to take action.